Hello guys, and welcome to this guide on how to climb with Kaisa. First off, let's look at why you want to play this comp right now. Kaisa is currently very strong in the meta. Over the last couple of patches, Kaisa and Dragonmancer have gotten huge buffs, alongside buffs to Zac, who you frontline in this comp. Since then, there's been a small B patch, slightly reverting some of the changes, but Kaisa and Zac are still very strong, and the comp is definitely playable, even in higher elo. On top of that, the comp is very easy to play and only involves small transitions into the mid and late game. The win condition for this comp involves rerolling at level 6 for Kaisa 3, Jax 3 and Zac 3. Dragonmancer buffs your Kaisa with AP and HP, while Lagoon and Shimmer Scale will provide you with early game econ, giving you more gold to hit your 3 costs with. The spell crit from Dual Gauntlet and Infinity Edge scales really well with the AP from Dragonmancer, and while Zac and Jax will tank the whole enemy team, Kaisa scales during the fight, firing more and more missiles, and finally getting the potential to wipe the whole enemy board. Kaisa's core build is Dual Gauntlet, Infinity Edge, plus a mana item. Both of these items make Kaisa cast every 3 autos. Shojin gives her more AP, while the extra mana from blue buff makes her insta-cast at the beginning of the fight. Depending on what augments you get during the game, you can switch it up a little bit in terms of the items. If you get Jeweled Lotus, you can sub out the Jewel Gauntlet for another damage item, with Giant Slayer being insane. And meanwhile, if you get a mana augment like Axiom Arc or Blue Battery, you can sub out the mana item for an extra damage item, or even a healing item like Hodge or Gunblade, which is gonna make your Kaisa 1v9 in a lot of situations. Your main itemized tank in this comp is gonna be Zac. For him you wanna get a Sunfire Cape for healing reduction. You also want to give him Ionic Spark, so he can provide MR Shred for your team. And you want to finish off his build with one of these tanky items. You don't usually want to itemize Jax in this comp, but he's great for holding Dragonmancer emblem, because you usually do 3-star him. And it can also be pretty good value to slam a TG on him, since at 3-star he's gonna get a lot out of tanky stats as well as AP. On first carousel, you usually want to go for a sword, glove or rod, which builds into these items. You mainly want to play Kaisa from a Lagoon opener. At level 4 you can play any Dragonmancer, and at level 5 you want to play a Bruiser. At the very early stage of the game, the most important itemization is getting a mana item on Kaisa, because then we can generate a lot of stacks for Lagoon. And meanwhile you want to get a Sunfire on Zac, which is going to help us killing a few units and saving HP. Our main objective in the early game is to econ up, and unless we high roll and 2-star the whole board early, we want to play for a lose streak. You want to have as much gold as possible for stage 3, so you can level to 6 on 3-2 and start slow rolling for Kaisa, Zac and Jax, meaning not rolling below 50 gold to maximize your econ. At level 6 you want to put in Nasus for Guardian, and here you want to swap out Skarner for Jax, and then once you hit Volibear you want to swap him in over your Dragonmancer. This gives us Shimmer Scale, which is going to provide us with a lot of econ throughout the mid game. If the Shimmer Scale item is an offensive one, you want to put it on Kaisa. If it's a defensive item, you want to put it on Zac. Position your Jax so he can hit as many units as possible with his ability. His stun is actually very valuable for your team. If the enemy is on left side, you want to put him here, and if the enemy is on right side, you want to put Jax here. If you feel like your Kaisa is a bit too exposed, you can put Volibear and Nasus around her so they can protect her from assassins and backline access. Now this is the board you're going to be playing for the majority of the game. And from this spot you just want to slow roll, rolling down to 50 each turn, and trying to hit Kaisa 3, Jax 3 and Zac 3. Meanwhile you want to get some damage items on Kaisa, and you want to get some defensive items on Zac, and eventually a pair of Thieves Gloves on Jax. Once you have 3-starred at least Kaisa and one of your frontline units, you can start pushing levels. At levels 7 and 8 we can play 2 more Dragonmancers, giving us 4 Dragonmancer. And at this stage of the game we want to swap out our econ traits. Get rid of Lagoon and get rid of Shimmer Scale, and instead of that we want to play even more Dragonmancers. So here we put in Yasuo plus 1. Yasuo is great with blue buff, a healing item and Edge of Night. He doesn't need all 3 of these items, he can use each of them really well independently. If you got your hands on a Dragonmancer emblem, you want to put it on Jax since you're most likely to 3-star him. Then we can swap out one of the cheap Dragonmancers for a Nasus, giving us Guardian and Shimmer Scale. And at level 9 we can even swap in Idas, giving us 5 Shimmer Scale while keeping Guardian. In my opinion, the strongest level 9 variant is playing Rakan plus Bard, giving us Guardian, as well as Mystic, as well as some really nice CC for our team. Now let's take a look at the best augments for playing this comp. All of these econ augments are going to help you get to 50 gold faster, so you can start slow rolling for your 3 costs even earlier into the game. Jewel Lotus allows you to sub out the Jewel Gauntlet for another damage item. And Battle Mage allows you to frontline Kaisa, giving her more AP and armor, especially good if you can pair it with a healing item, then she's gonna be unkillable. All of these Dragonmancer augments are great. With hero and training, usually you want to go for 3-star Karma as well. And you can also try to go with 3-star Lee Sin, who's also really good with this one. And if you get a Dragonmancer emblem from one of these last two, remember to put it on Jax, who you often 3-star in this comp. All of these mana augments are going to help your Kaisa and your whole team to cast even more. And with these you can sub out one of the mana items on Kaisa for another damage item. Meanwhile, these healing augments can be super helpful. They're really gonna give your Kaisa an edge in those 1v9 scenarios. Radiant Relics is always good, and meanwhile Ancient Archives, the nerf's grab bag, can help you get more Dragonmancer emblems and components as well. And last on this list we have Eye of the Storm. With this one your Kaisa's gonna get so much AP. You're gonna have to frontline her though, so you only want to take this if you have healing augment or healing item for Kaisa. And that, my friends, is the end of this guide. If you learned something new, remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.